wash my hands, right? And we get ready to inject him and then to rub him and get him on the fire. And the competition folks don't do this, but I have a little mock action that I'm going to throw at it. And we're going to do everything you need to know all of the different steps in competition, or how to just make all your neighbors want to come over and hang out at your house if you're doing this in the backyard. How's that? Alright, it's kind of funny. I'm learning how the competition people do this kind of thing. And so many of these products and techniques are kind of new to me because I just cook a different way. But I understand what they're doing. I just have to argue about it. Alright, so what we're doing is we're getting ready to do the injection. It's going to go inside the ribs, right? And I've got two things. Apparently this is the huge secret to competition style ribs. So what we have is injection concentrate, sweet smoked juice. I actually have no idea what's in this thing. And I think that's funny because I can guess a lot. Oh, I don't know. He's got a pretty good mix in here. Vinegar, corn syrup, agave nectar, garlic powder, black pepper. Seems like a pretty good mix to me. All right. It's the Jan Charles Can't Open Packages Day show. Oh, all day. All right, so you do this in a 2-to-1 concentration, right? I don't know. We got a 4-quart measure. Daryl, I sworn. Yeah, mess me up. You do it 2-to-1. So you would do 1 bottle of this to this whole bottle, but my container's not big enough, and I filled it up too much. So we're going to do this right here real quick. I could have poured that back in there, I guess. So 2-to-1, right? Or did I get it backwards? Don't want both of those in there?
Yes, you're right. Oh my God.
See?
Huh? Oh.
You know what it is? I never use packaged stuff, so I have to read the product label and think, I'm supposed to do what with this? Do you know what I can't make?
What's that?
Instant potatoes.
Oh.
I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't make those box dinners where you just put the hamburger in it. I screw them up every time. I just can't function that way. All right. Now we had to shake that up a good bit because there's a good bit of salt already in there, right? So this is there anything weird? There's nothing weird in there. So you kind of got the sweet from the grape juice, and that's white grape juice, right? Got the sweet from the grape juice, you kind of got that tangy thing and a little bit of sweet from the agave, and I can taste garlic and black pepper. So he might know what he's doing. Okay. Now, we're going in between the ribs. And if you look at it, you can tell where the rib bones are. Because, you know, if we trim it the way we're supposed to, you're going to be able to see the ribs on both sides, right? So are we trying to go for, what, 2 injections between each rib on each side? Is that about right?
Yeah, if you can get one on each end, or I know it's pretty thin. If you get just a little bit in there, you got it.
And you can actually see it
blowing up.
Yep, it pops up really nice. And I know you said to do it so it blows up everywhere. I kind of think if you go kind of slow, you can see where you're going. You kind of see how much you got in there. So how much normally, Daryl, would you put in a rack of ribs?
Just a taste. Just a...
I mean, how much volume? We've got 2 cups of injection right here.
Good Lord, I think you could actually get it all in there, couldn't you?
Maybe.
Whoa, whoa.
Work slow. See, I think it's just that most of y'all are boys. You just want an excuse to make a mess.
You haven't wasted a drop yet.
I think... Alright, ladies. Let's talk about this for a minute. I think they've kind of got a lock on starting a big fat fire. Oh, there goes a little bit. Running outside, playing with fire, getting good food, and a lot of alcohol. And they think we've got to have all these secrets. And I say we ought to take it away from them. Or at least make them scoot over and share the beer, huh? See, look, you can, oh, that's coming up all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that gets exciting. See, I've never used injections. I really haven't. I've relied on all kinds of other methods that you do inside, but you wouldn't really have outside. You wouldn't have the opportunity. I don't see why, if you're dealing with poultry, why you still couldn't brine ahead of time. But, you know, brining is not typically something you do with pork you tend to get kind of an unusual texture when you brine. Not always, but with ribs and things, it's not always something you want to do. I don't know though, I might start playing with that, see if I can't just knock you out, Daryl.
I'm telling you.
How about that? It's a little harder to see up on this end, but I think it's probably more important that you get more of it in here. And I guess you do want to be careful so you're not injecting your thumb. That would be awkward.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're going to be playing with the injector and fire and alcohol, be careful. Because you can get all kinds of stupid, I guess. I bet you've seen everything though, haven't you?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Well, I have a couple of friends. I'm starting to think that me and the girls should show up at some of these competitions. All right, now when we did the brisket, we went down over the top, but there's really not room in here to go down over the top, is there? There's not really a meat cap.
Nope.
You've just got the bones and the ribs. Now, these ribs have such nice, you know, a rib bone has a marrow strip running through it. And a lot of that flavor is going to render out into the meat while it cooks. But you know, marrow is kind of like cartilage. It doesn't go fast, you know, not in this type of cooking. So you want to give it time, right? And we've also talked about low and slow works in a variety of applications. You can do it on a smoker. You can do it on a grill if you can control your heat. But that's also what you're doing when you're braising. I think the real difference comes with the difference between moist heat and dry heat. Oh, now there we got a, oh, there we go. What's your boo, Dan? Oh. So we're going to start out with dry heat, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we're going to let the smoke get going. That's where you, if you're doing the brisket, you start getting your smoke ring. How do you pull the pork when we do it for competition? Is it always pulled pork, or do you do something else with the butt?
Well, there's three different porks. There's the money muscle.
Money muscle.
Yeah.
Tell me what the money muscle is.
Money muscle is on the end and has a certain look to it.
On a pork butt.
On a pork butt.
I was gonna say that's not a typical butcher's term, is it?
No. And then the tubes. There's 6 tubes in a pork butt.
Okay.
And then there's 2 horns. They call them horns.
Okay.
And then there's pulled. Everything else is pulled.
Everything else is pulled, but those pieces are not pulled.
No, you can, but you have to get them to the right consistency, and that means cooking them up to 185 degrees. And it's really not mega done. It's like there's a little bit lacking, but it gives you the consistency to make the. And you can still eat them. You know, it's still not.
Okay, I've got it running all out.
Wow, that
It's
is
coming
really
all out of the
done
place
well.
now.
Yes, that's done well.
I don't know that I can get any more in there.
Okay.
All right, so let me give my hands a quick wash. I know, Jerry, you tried to bring me gloves. The problem is I can't handle regular gloves. I have the worst reaction to it. I'd be walking around here looking like Minnie Mouse with giant hands. And Daryl tried to bring me some vinyl gloves, except they're too big.
Way too big.
So we're going to go with super clean regular hands. How about that? This is my kitchen. See, I have to say that about home cooks. It's your kitchen. You can do whatever you want to. All right, so now this is where we go from getting the flavor on the inside to getting that nice crust on the outside, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to do a little bit of what you do, but I'm going to put my own spin on this one, right? Which is not necessarily a competition thing, but it's my house and I make the rules. All right, so we've got 2 different types of seasoned salt. And I wanted to talk about these for a minute. You know, you buy these commercially, and lots of different places have their own particular mix and their own particular blend. And they are very salty, which I guess if you ended up brining something somewhere, you'd have to be careful with that. But in this case, there's no salt here yet, except what was in the injection. And we do want some salt to help get that nice crust on the outside. You don't want it just coming from sugar. So these normally have some sort of salt and pepper, garlic, and paprika. Often you will see them with, you know, other things in them. There is a very well-known steak rub that has fennel seed in it. You can find them with cumin or chili powder or all kinds. Pick the one you like, right? There is no one magic formula for this. And of course there are commercial ones that everybody knows and loves. You know, knock yourself out. Now, I make, quite often, my own seasoning rubs. I didn't make this one. I'm not going to worry about it too much, because I'm learning how to do it the competition way, right? Although I am going to sneak a trick in here, too, that Daryl doesn't know about.
I noticed you're coming from way up high.
You know why you do that? You're snowing on your food. You know what I think that is? First of all, you don't necessarily have to rub your rub, right? You don't have to. What you need is some sort of moisture on the meat so the rub will adhere. And when you come up like this, you get a far more even distribution of the seasoning. See, watch. If I sprinkle down here, I've got a little lumpy spot right there where it all ended up right here. But if I come up here, look how it's far more even. That comes from just regular cooking. You know, learning how to use salt and pepper. Never underestimate power of salt and pepper. That's my #1 first rule that I use when I'm teaching people how to cook. Daryl, close your eyes for a minute. You don't know I'm doing this. This is not a competition style thing. This is from a Tennessee girl with years and years of experience on just a plain old grill. Uh-oh, we got a funky top. From just years and years of learning how to do barbecue from people around here and folks down in Alabama. You know, Daddy lived in Alabama, so I had lots of barbecue down there. And I learned a trick or two. And here's one of them. You want lots of flavor. And we want to put a second layer of seasoning on here, right? We have 2 different types of seasoning salt, slightly different flavor profiles. We want to use both of them to try to hit all the areas in your palate. So when you take a bite, you have that sweet, and you have tangy, and you have a little bit of heat in there, and you've got the nice salty thing. We're going to put sweet in there. That was Southern Comfort. So we're going to call these, we're going to name these for my sister. Now, this is just how you do a mop in the Deep South. Now, a lot of people will actually have a little bucket of something and a little baby mop, and they'll mop their ribs. I like using a spray bottle because you get a very even distribution. You actually only end up using a tiny bit, but you have incredible flavor in there. And you see how if we missed it, we did not knock all the first layer of seasoning off of there, did we? We gave it a second layer of flavor to make the second layer of rub stick. Because we ain't rub and rub. I don't know why it's called rub. That's beginning to drive me crazy. You realize that. Why they name it that. All right, we're going to flip it to the other side. Now, I have bare hands, and yes, this is the same seasoning, but this will go in the garbage, so I don't want to hear anybody backsassing about that. Because you don't want to cross-contaminate, and I touched the raw pork. But that is something that you want to watch out for when you're at your own house. Don't ever touch the seasoning after you've had your hands with pork. And just slightly missed it, okay? All you want is something else for those seasonings to adhere to. And again, from up high. And you know, we're not outside, so I did give myself a baking sheet to work with and some foil. It actually worked pretty well for containing the mess. I've got some seasoning that went sideways, but okay. So now this is all we're going to do to this thing right now. I'm going to wash my hands again, and then we're going to carry him out, and he's going to go naked, right? He's going to go naked the first hour and a half or so. All right, so we've got our smoker, and if you, I don't know where the directions will be when the video's up. Somewhere there will be a link to how you set up your smoker and how you get your fire started, and we'll talk about the temperatures that you want to use when you get him out there. So that's our next step. We're going to put this on the fire.